Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully now you have a basic idea on how to use the classes in C#. Now we're going to write another program that's going to be using classes, and we're going to be doing what's known as a Caesar shift or Caesar cipher. Doesn't really matter which way you call it. It means that pretty much exactly the same thing. A little bit of background. A Caesar cipher is basically an encryption algorithm that has existed for a very long time, that was apparently used back in the Roman times to send messages between war generals, and basically so the enemy couldn't understand what it was. Now, it's a very simple encryption algorithm. It's starting off with, if we take a word, like if we took A, B, C, D, and we wanted to encrypt that using a Caesar cipher, and we wanted to use a shift of 1, that means to encrypt the words A, B, C, D, we would shift everything over to the right by 1, and we'll get B, C, D, E, if that makes any sense just from hearing it verbally. Now, if you want some more information on a Caesar cipher, go online to Wikipedia, check it out. This is not an encryption video tutorial series, but we're going to be writing an encryption algorithm right now just to show how to use classes and to have some fun. Because this is fun. So we'll call it a C shift. And let's create a new item, and we'll make this a code file. And we'll start off by using system, like usual. And we'll create our main class. With the public static void main function. Okay, now I'm going to create my separators here, and we're going to declare another class. And the difference between this class and the class that we used before is we're going to create an instance of this class, and we're going to use the instance of it as opposed to just accessing it directly. So let's write the class. So this will be class, and we'll call it shift. And inside of here, we're going to have a public function, and we're going to it's going to be returning a string data type, and we're going to call it C shift. And this C shift is going to be taking in some data, and it's going to be taking in the first thing that we need in order to perform a Caesar shift is the actual string itself. So we'll just do string. So this will be the message, and an integer shift. So however many we're shifting it, we need to have that information as well. Awesome. Awesome. Now, to perform a Caesar shift, let's kind of go over this. We'll just look at it in code, because sometimes that makes a little bit more sense to look at how a problem is solved. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to declare a string. Now, this is going to be we'll make this equal to null. This is going to be a string that's going to be having the new letters concatenated to it, and this is what will be returned back to the main function or whatever function calls this class function. We're going to have a character array, and we'll just call this A, and we'll make this equal to null. A is then going to equal the incoming string, so the string that is sent by the user, dot to character array. So we're going to be taking the string and converting it to a character array. And we're going to declare an integer, and we'll just call it temp. So now we have the basis of it. So let us create a for loop, int I equals 0 while I is less than str.length, so the length of the string, and then we'll do I++. So inside of this for loop, we're going to use that temp integer that we created. We'll set this equal to, and this is what is called as a typecast. We'll type int in parentheses, then we'll do a of element I plus shift, and shift is going to be lowercase, and I'm going to put the a sub I plus shift inside parentheses also. So what this line is saying is store as an integer the character that's coming in. So basically every single character in the ASCII chart has a decimal number assigned to it. So we're just taking the number that it already is and we're adding shift to it. So that's going to shift that character over however many characters that we're shifting it. So that's how the single character is going to be shifted, and we're going to concatenate that to user output by doing user output plus equals, converting it back to a character. So the character value of the integer of temp will then be concatenated to user output. Once it goes through this, we have it encrypted and it's good to go. So then we'll return user output. Cool, that should work. So make sure you code this. Hopefully it works the first time. If not, we'll come back and fix it. So inside the main class, we're going to have to access this. And let's try to make this look, we'll try to make it look a little pretty. So what do? We create a string, and we'll call it user string, and set this equal to null. Let me spell user correctly. User string equals null. We'll create an integer and call it shift, and we'll create an object of the shift class. So we'll do shift, and I'll just do object shift equals new instance of shift. So now we've created an object of shift. So this here then inherits all of the functions and everything associated with the shift class, which right now it's a pretty small class. It just contains only one function. But if we had other functions in here, or if we had other variables in here that were public, we would have access to them directly. Alright, cool. So let's ask the user something. We'll ask the user, we'll just tell him, welcome to Caesar Shift Program. Nice. Console dot write line. And we'll kind of add a little bit of line of stars below it so it looks nice. Console dot write. And we'll ask the user, we'll say type a string to encrypt. And then the user will just give us something, and let's make it look pretty. We'll do console dot foreground color, and we'll make this equal to console color of yellow. So then the user string will then equal console dot read line. Awesome. So I'm going to scroll the mouse down, but make sure that you code this alongside me. We'll scroll down here. We type the string in. Now we have to ask the user to we have to get how many shifts that we want to perform. So after we do this, we're going to change the console color back. So I'm going to copy this line here, and we'll change it back to the gray color. And let's copy these couple of lines here, and below them we'll make a blank line and paste it. So the console.write, we're going to put how many chars would you like to shift. So we're asking how many characters would you like to shift, and we'll make this also yellow. And instead of user string, we'll call this shift, and it'll be shift equals coming in from the console. And as you experts at programming know, what do we have to do? That's right. Cool. So now we're going to convert what comes in to an integer, make the console gray again. Cool. Watch this. Console dot write. See, now we're going to tell the user your encrypted string is. Now let's do let's copy this foreground color. Whoops, not cut it. We'll do, instead of yellow, we'll make it red. we'll do console dot write line. And inside of here, we're going to access the OB shift dot, the function that's in there, C shift, sending it the two parameters it needs, user string and shift. And that should perform the encryption. And then all that's really left to do is make this gray again. And this should be the main method. Let's control F5 and make sure it works. We have an error. And that is because I spelled gray wrong. It's G-R-A-Y. And that's down there on line 27. Control F5. Alright, let's test it. We'll do A, B, C, D, E. How many do you want to shift? We'll shift 1. And it did shift. So now A is B, B is C, C is D, D is E, and E is F. So we've shifted all the characters one to the right. So let's do Control F5. We'll do an entire string. We'll do you will never ever know what this says. Enter. How many do you want to shift? Let's shift, we'll do an 8 shift. Look at that. And it's a whole bunch of garbage. But if you wanted to decrypt this, all that you would have to do is take in this garbage and shift it to the left 8, and you would get the actual, you will never ever know what this says. So this is a pretty cool little program, so have fun with this. We'll do a file, save all, C shift, file, and close solution.